one category that most people rarely ask about, but has a big significant impact to their business is security. That's usually an afterthought. Usually when I get to security with companies, if I wasn't their original consultant, they're calling me to do cleanup work. Like, hey, my company got hacked and they were sending out, I have a case study that I'm actually working on putting together now of a company that their email system ended up getting hacked, okay? And the hacker was sending out invoices from their email to their customers. Their customers were paying the invoice, thinking that they were paying the company. The company had no idea that this was happening because it wasn't in their sent box, none of those things. Well, it cost them upwards of, I believe, $1 million. So security is so important. And this wasn't like a huge, big company either. This was like a small business. So just because you are a startup or a small business does not mean that you are not at risk. In fact, you are 70% more likely to be at risk because you are a startup and small business. Usually hackers or different things like, different viruses are created for startups and small businesses because they know that you aren't going through PCI compliance training, or you're not going through, all those trainings that your corporation, when you work at a job, make you sit through. Right? Say, hey, this is a phishing attempt, or this is this attempt. You got to sit through that at your job, right? But when you start your own company, you're trying to figure out how to get this podcast out, or you're trying to figure out how to get these clothes shipped off. Last thing you're thinking about is, am I going to get hacked? That's the last thing you're thinking about. But so, you'll get an email in, we've even had this happen to us, right? We'll get an email in and says, oh, it'll say invoice, or it'll say, it'll say AP, accounts payable or accounts receivable or something like that. And we click on it thinking that, oh, it's something that we need to open so we can address. And it's a Trojan, it's a horse, it's a virus. And I'm in technology, So, security is one of those things that you definitely want to be thinking about in your business. Why is technology so important? Because it impacts your ability to scale. It impacts your ability to go from, 1 user today to 5,000 users tomorrow, or 5,000 customers tomorrow. It impacts your ability to communicate internally with your employees if you ever decide to grow staff, right? And it impacts your ability to communicate externally with your customers. Listen, if you're not communicating with your customers, you don't have no business, because you'll be out of sight, out of mind. And then it impacts your customers. Technology impacts your customers because it allows them to be able to do business with you easily. If you just stuck on sending emails to your customers and they prefer you to text them, then they're going to go to a company that texts. If your ideal audience is on IG and you just won't get off of LinkedIn, you're not going to be in front of your ideal audience, right? So it impacts your customers because then they can't find you. They can't communicate with you.